guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Real quick, if you do me a very quick favor, if you would hit that subscribe button, if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to hit that 10K subscriber mark, and I am oh so close. I'm trying to hit that by the end of the year. And also, if you like the content, if you could hit that thumbs up button for me, I would appreciate you very much. It does help the algorithm here on the YouTube streets, and it recommends my videos to other folks. All right, with all that logistical, whatever you want to call it, out of the way, I'm going to jump right in. I'm a little delayed on covering some of this, but I will tell you guys, I'm not really good at breaking news. That's why I don't do lives for the most part. But I want to give you guys some updates on the Jesse Mack Butler case. If you haven't seen what's going on, there's a lot going on in the background, and this nasty guy, I'm going to try to be very careful, this nasty kid, who's not really so much of a kid, he's a monster, he's going to hopefully have to face some music very soon. And there's a lot of folks that are fighting for justice for his victims, and I hope that they win and his ass gets in prison, because this whole joke that we covered on the last video where he gets to be, on probation and for a year, if he's a good boy, that he can, have, he doesn't have a record, is such bull crap. It really, truly is. I'm going to show you his arrest video and then also go through a video that Law and Crime just put out with some updates. But I do have the arrest affidavit, which is of course highly redacted, but I'm going to go through that. It's probably going to be hard for y'all to read it on the screen, so I'm just going to read it. And if you want me to post the actual images, let me know, and I will definitely do so on a community post for everyone if you guys want to actually read the 4-page arrest affidavit. So again, this is a 4-page arrest warrant affidavit for Jesse Mack Butler. Okay, again, highly redacted. I really don't care about his information. More protecting the victims and what have you. Because they decided to charge him now as a juvenile, I mean, a lot of his stuff is redacted, which I just think is a joke. It truly, truly is. But again, in the district court within and for Payne County, the state of Oklahoma, in reference to Jesse Mack Butler, 8/4 of 2007. Looks like the agency is Stillwater Police Department, state of Oklahoma, county of Payne, and arrest warrant affidavit. The undersigned of lawful age, being duly sworn upon oath, deposes and states as follows. 1. Detective Rachel Bruce is a CLEAT certified police officer employed by the Stillwater Police Department. 2. Detective Rachel Bruce has conducted an investigation, and based on the knowledge gained from that investigation of the circumstances, it appears as follows. On September 12th, 2024, at approximately 13:22 hours, Stillwater Public Schools, Stillwater Police Schools Resource Officer Paul Blankenship took a report from a student concerning allegations of domestic assault and battery by strangulation, sexual battery, R by instrumentation, sodomy, attempted first-degree R, and kidnapping. The victim, a juvenile female identified as redacted, was in a dating relationship with the suspect. Jesse Mack Butler, redacted, reported the romantic relationship with Butler began in late January 2024 and ended in early March 2024. During their relationship, redacted reported Butler often physically and sexually assaulted her. Redacted provided a written statement to SRO Blankenship concerning an incident that occurred in which Butler sexually battered her and attempted to R her inside his vehicle outside Marble Slab Creamery, 229 South Knobloch, She also detailed an incident that occurred inside her vehicle in the Hampton Inn and Suites parking lot, 717 East Hall of Fame Avenue. Following the initial report, I was assigned as the investigator to follow up on this case. On September 20th, 2024, Redacted participated in a forensic interview at the Salville Center in Stillwater, Oklahoma. During the forensic interview, Redacted disclosed the following events. February 2nd, 2024, Butler parked his vehicle on the north side of Marble Slab Creamery, 229 South Knobloch, following an OSU home wrestling duel that they attended together. Instead of getting ice cream, which is what he initially told Redacted they were going to do, he forcibly removed her clothing, aggressively pinned her down, sat on top of her, touched her breasts, bit and sucked on her chest, and inserted his fingers into her vagina against her will. Butler also attempted to have sexual intercourse with her in the vehicle. Redacted reported she yelled and told him no repeatedly and tried to push him off of her, but was unable to overpower him, Redacted reported. Butler told her he was sorry for what he was about to do, but he had to do it. Redacted recalled hyperventilating because Butler intended to have sexual intercourse with her and she did not want to. Before Butler could put his penis inside of her, an unidentified woman walked up to the vehicle and interrupted them. Redacted believed the woman heard her yelling, crying, and saying no from outside the vehicle. Redacted detailed how this event derailed his plan to have sex with her. After this occurred, Butler drove away from the area, told Redacted to stay down, and warned her if the police came that they would both be in trouble. Yeah, that is ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. And he is disgusting, guys. Thank God for that woman interrupting. Butler returned to his home where Redacted's vehicle was located. Once there, they remained in Butler's pickup where he tried again to have sexual intercourse with Redacted. Redacted told Butler she needed to get home, but Butler pulled her on top of him and told her, quote, "You're not going until I'm finished," unquote. Butler moved Redacted's body back and forth on top of his with their clothing on. Butler told Redacted, quote, "I want to have sex with you," unquote, but she refused and said she did not want to. Redacted was able to get out of Butler's vehicle and get into her own vehicle to leave. Butler got into Redacted's vehicle with her and continued to try to get her to have sexual intercourse with him. Redacted reported that Butler told her, quote, "I want to be inside of you," unquote, and "I want you," unquote. Ugh. Redacted described Butler putting his hands all over her body, specifically between her legs, on her chest, and he grabbed her by the neck. Redacted stated Butler also often pulled her hair during these incidents. Redacted reported Butler did eventually get out of her vehicle and she was able to go home. Oh my God, you guys. And these are high school kids. Disgusting. He is disgusting, and his mom is protecting him. And you're going to see how protective she really is when we watch the arrest. She's something else. Early February 2024, Butler and Redacted were parked outside Planet Fitness, 805 East Virginia Avenue, inside of her vehicle. Butler exposed his penis to her and told her to perform oral sex on him. Redacted refused by saying no and that she wanted to go home. Butler then forced Redacted's head and mouth onto his penis by grabbing the back of her head and her hair and forcing her down toward his penis. Redacted began crying when he did this. While this was occurring, Butler's mother called. Yay. Butler told Redacted to be quiet and not say anything or he would hurt her. Following the phone call, Redacted stated she complied with Butler out of fear of what he would do to her if she did not. Redacted performed oral sex on Butler until he told her to stop and ejaculated. After this occurred, Butler exited her vehicle and they both left the parking lot. I'm telling you, this guy needs to go to prison. Prison. And this is not even everything he did. Early February, prior to 2/14/2024, Butler and Redacted were at Butler's family home, 2309 East Will Rogers Drive, in an upstairs movie room, when Butler pinned Redacted down on the couch by sitting on top of her. He forcefully removed her clothing despite her objection. He touched her body, including her breasts and vagina, as she cried and told him to stop. This incident ended as Butler was attempting to take his underwear off to try to have sexual intercourse with her. Redacted knew Butler intended to have sex with her because he made statements like, quote, "I want to be inside of you," unquote, and pushed his penis into her groin area. Butler's mother came to the door and inquired if everything was okay. Redacted believed this was because she heard Redacted crying and saying no. After this occurred, Butler and Redacted left Butler's residence to take her home. When Butler took Redacted home, he parked in the vicinity of Redacted's home, but he refused to take her to her house. Butler forced Redacted to remain in his vehicle with him for a period of approximately 2 hours and told her she could not leave until she did what he wanted her to do. Given Butler's previous aggressive behavior with her and his ability to overpower her, Redacted was scared to try to exit the vehicle. Inside of the vehicle, Butler grabbed Redacted's breast and rubbed her between her legs. He attempted to pull her on top of him, but she refused. He grabbed her hand and forced it onto his groin area, moving her hand back and forth. Redacted was able to exit Butler's vehicle after threatening to call her mother if he did not let her go. Butler also exited and followed Redacted into her residence, where he continued with unwanted sexual advances. Redacted reported Butler eventually left her residence between 0130 hours and 0230 hours after receiving a text from his sister to come home. February 2024, Redacted and Butler were parked in her vehicle at 717 East Hall of Fame, the Hampton Inn and Suites parking lot behind Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, 317 North Perkins Road. Butler instructed Redacted to get in the back seat with one of the seats laid down. He removed her pants and underwear against her will. Redacted verbalized she did not want him to touch her, but he put his fingers inside of her vagina. Redacted told Butler to stop and that he was hurting her badly. Redacted reported Butler told her he was not going to stop until he got 3 fingers inside of her, which he did. Redacted moved around and tried to get him to stop, but he refused and she was scared of him and could not overpower him. When Redacted got home afterward and went to the bathroom, she was bleeding from her vagina. This poor girl, I'll tell you what. And this kid, this is not a kid, okay? At this point, he is a monster. He's a monster. February 2024, Redacted reported multiple incidents where Butler, quote, fingered, unquote, her against her will while in their vehicles in the Brahms parking lot. On one occasion, Redacted's sibling was with them and Butler sent the sibling inside with his debit card to get something to eat so he could touch Redacted. She reportedly bled from her vagina on this occasion also. On another occasion that Butler forcefully digitally penetrated her, Redacted battery to her vehicle died and her father had to come jump started afterwards. On or about February 29, 2024, Redacted reported she was strangled to the point of unconsciousness by Jesse Butler. This occurred inside of her vehicle in the Walmart parking lot at 111 North Perkins Road. Redacted reported Butler strangled her after she would not participate in sexual acts with him. Prior to strangling her, Butler touched her breasts and other parts of her body under and over her clothing. He pinned her down inside of her vehicle and straddled her with one hand on her neck and one hand pinning her hands down over her head. Redacted was scared and crying. She told Butler no, but he did not listen. Redacted reported she was hyperventilating and then recalled her vision being blurry and that she was dizzy. She reported her head immediately hurt and she was confused about what occurred. She was scared of Butler, but when she regained consciousness, Butler was laughing at her. He is sadistic as hell. Following this incident, Redacted reported she had a handprint and injury on her neck. In addition to these specific occasions, Redacted reported Jesse Butler would regularly slap her legs or squeeze her legs very hard. She reported it would hurt and resulted in a lot of bruises on her legs from Butler. Redacted had taken a few photographs of the bruises on her legs and on her neck with her phone. However, Butler regularly went through her phone, so she was afraid to document them in that manner. Following the forensic interview, Redacted was seen by Brandy Watts, APRN, FMP, BC, sane at the Seville Center. During the examination, Redacted provided Watts with a similar account of the incidents detailed in the forensic interview. She also reported to Watts that she had urinated on herself when Butler strangled her. Since the incident, Redacted has experienced times of substantial swelling, as observed by Watts through photographs provided by Redacted's parent, and discomfort in her neck, which she may not have experienced absent the strangulation. Through her examination, Watts found Redacted had been a victim of sexual and physical abuse. In the incidents involving Redacted, Jesse Butler demonstrated escalating physical and sexual violence as their relationship progressed over the term of approximately 2 months. Additionally, the Stillwater Police Department took another report of incidents reported by a second female juvenile, in which Jesse Butler utilized threat, fear, intimidation, and physical force to make her perform sexual acts and participate in sexual intercourse with him. This relationship began after Redacted, and Butler ended their dating relationship in March 2024. In that investigation, Butler employed similar strategies to elicit cooperation from that victim, including strangling her until unconsciousness for refusing to have sexual intercourse with him. Based upon his birth date, Jesse Mack Butler was 17 years old at the time these crimes were committed. He's already 17 and doing this kind of crap. Yeah. The aforementioned offenses occurred in Payne County, Oklahoma. Wherefore, based on the above information, your officiant prays the Honorable Court find that probable cause exists to issue an arrest warrant for Jesse Mack Butler on the following charges. Domestic assault and battery, 21 OS 644, a misdemeanor offense. 2. Domestic abuse by strangulation, 21 OS 644, a felony offense. 3. Sexual battery, OS 1123B1, a felony offense. 4. R by instrumentation, 21 OS 1111.1a, a felony offense. 5. Sodomy, 21 OS 888B3, a felony offense. 6. Attempted first degree R, 21 OS 1114A5, a felony offense. 7. Kidnapping, 21 OS 7211, a felony offense. Signed by Detective Rachel Bruce, Stillwater Police Department, on January 17th, 2025. He is disgusting. He is a monster. The fact that this judge gave him a slap on the wrist, it infuriates me. The more and more I learn, it infuriates me. And also, this arrest body cam that you're about to see, well, that's going to infuriate you even more as well. So let's watch that.
We're ready to obviously tell our story too.
Yeah.
Jess, it's Mom. Open the door. It's me.
And if you'll just have him step out.
Okay. Give me your wallet and phone and stuff. So, okay. Your what?
They're in the car.
Well, okay, it's fine. It's not locked or anything, is it? Okay. So, can you tell him what you just told me, or?
Yeah, so we're here. We're obviously going to place you under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest. We're going to take you to the jail. I told your mom that she can contact a bondsman, and you shouldn't be there very long, but there just is a process for paperwork and stuff.
His mom makes me so sick. It's okay, baby. And she's putting her arm around his back. And look at her comforting him. Mom, your son is an artist. He is disgusting. And the fact that you're like, oh, I can't wait to tell our side and all this other garbage. Your son is a creep, okay? He tried to, he didn't just try. He did. He attacked other girls because they would not have sex with him. And he beat them up and strangled them. He's disgusting. And you're okay with this. That just blows my mind.
But right now you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs. So turn around for me.
You have to put him in handcuffs?
Oh, do you have to put him in handcuffs? He's my baby. He didn't do anything wrong. Mom, you are disgusting. You are another enabling, overprotective mom protecting your baby who has committed an awful, awful crime, or in this case, many crimes. Okay? And I have to say, I love that this is a female officer having to arrest his ass. I think that's pretty awesome.
You know we're going to win this. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll get you out. For me? All right. Stay silent. Rick knows about this. Candy's on this. Dad's on his way. We're coming to get you, okay? Stay strong, okay? Say your prayers.
Mom, I don't know. You are you're something else. You truly are. At least Jesse, we can see what he did. The fact that you are protecting your your baby, and the fact that he strangled, forced sex on many other teenage girls, beat the crap out of them. I mean, the things that he has done to other young ladies, and you're all going, oh, it's okay. We're going to get you out. Don't worry. Daddy's coming with a lawyer. You are disgusting, Mom. You are disgusting.
Okay, so he's going to go right to the city of Stillwater jail, and if you'll just contact her, then she does this all the time. She knows what to do.
Yep.
Make sure
Okay.
she knows Stillwater Police Department, not a county.
Stillwater Police Department
We're the ones
on
that-
Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them know that
perfect.
we're the ones that picked him up.
And
They
when
don't-
you say we are the ones.
Stillwater PD.
Stillwater PD.
Yeah,
Okay.
that way they don't think you went like straight over and he's over at the county.
Awful experience for a child.
An awful experience for a child. Well, I think it's awful to be forced to have sex with your nasty ass 17-year-old son because he's horny as hell, and he decides at 16, 17, whatever, that he wants to have sex, and then because these girls won't have it with him, he forces it on them, and beats them up, he hits them, strangles them. It's disgusting, Mom. And this is nothing. This is nothing. I'll tell you what, I can't wait until he finally has to really serve his time, because this guy, all he's had his entire life, you can tell, his mama babying him. Oh, it's okay, baby Jesse. We'll take care of you. Oh, mommy's here. Mommy's here, baby. Let me get you a bottle. Come on.
Are you gonna pass this? Make that chart. I'm gonna pat you down. Spread your feet for me. Nothing in your socks.
That's Jess. See you in a bit.
His mom infuriates me. Infuriates me. Are you guys as infuriated as I am with his mom? It's like all these other mothers that we end up seeing. Remember Brian Laundrie's mom? Oh, she's protecting him. You have all these other moms out there. You know, not a lot of them come to my head right now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. These are the moms that protect their monster babies. Oh, he's my baby. He can't do anything wrong. Well, look at what just happened with Brian Walsh, who was just found guilty by the jury today of murder. His mom was in there blowing him kisses in the courtroom last week, they said. Oh, I love you, honey. I love you, honey. Doesn't matter that their kids assaulted somebody, forced them on themselves, strangled them, or even killed them. Oh, I love you no matter what, baby. Oh, I love my baby. This is disgusting, for sure. And we're going to jump to Jesse Weber's interview with the attorney for one of the victims, and we're going to go through that.
Now, KS and her family say they were blindsided. They were outraged. The attorney here, Rachel Bussett, representing KS, has filed a motion arguing that the victims' rights here were violated under Marcy's law, claiming they weren't properly consulted. They are asking the court to reconsider what happened here. That is the fight that's happening right now, and we want to talk about it. To walk us through all of this, we are joined by attorney Rachel Bussett, who is representing KS and her family. Thank you so much for taking the time. Really, really appreciate it. I first want to just start off with your client. KS, her family, it is not a shocker that they have been through a lot. This, what is essentially an unimaginable ordeal. They're in the middle of this legal issue, but they've been in the spotlight for quite some time since all the news of Jesse Butler broke. How are they doing right now? What is their state of mind right now as they go into this?
Well, I think they're just really in shock about what happened. They're not happy. They're frustrated with working with the system. They feel very not heard and feel like at times they were misled.
Now, by the way, I just want to give our viewers and listeners a heads up. I know there's limited information you can talk about since this is an ongoing case. So if there's nothing you can't answer, completely understand. But Legally speaking, where do we stand right now? I did a whole other sidebar on the motion, but now there's this petition. Talk to our viewers and listeners about where it currently sits.
Sure. So he has been sentenced under the Youthful Offenders Act and pled no contest. There has been at least one review in December. After that, we filed a motion for to enforce the constitutional rights of the victim and to redo sentencing or reconsider the terms of the plea agreement because we believe that their constitutional rights were violated under Marcy's law.
And for those who don't know, and because I just explained it, but I want to hear from you, what is a brief summary of why you believe that your client's rights were violated, the victim's rights were violated? This idea of there wasn't a proper notice of what was going on. There was not a proper explanation of what was going to happen. Perhaps there was misinformation from a victim's perspective. So if you could explain to us what the underlying allegations are.
So, Marcy's Law is a crime victims' bill of rights, and it was passed into the Oklahoma Constitution in 2018, supplemented by statutory definitions and processes that are supposed to be given to victims. Along the way, if you read through the statement of facts and procedural history in the case, you'll see that there were a number of times where my clients weren't given proper notice. They didn't follow simple procedural aspects of what we're supposed to do as lawyers. There were other times where they were given partial information or no information at all, or the information that they were given was given in such a way that they didn't have a meaningful time to process it, work through it, and understand it. So there are different things that happen at different times.
I like this lawyer. She's right. These victims did not get an opportunity to know about this plea deal, which to me is just complete garbage. It's crap. And it's against the law. And this judge, she should be ashamed of herself. Ashamed.
And is the goal for Jesse Butler to ultimately be resentenced, for the youthful offender status to be stripped away, for him to be sentenced as an adult, for him to get prison time? Is that something, or is it at the very least for your client, her family, to be heard, to just be heard in a courtroom? What is the outcome that you're looking for at this point?
We're looking for an outcome that holds him accountable. And I know there are going to be people that say, well, this does hold him accountable as a youthful offender. But the biggest thing is he hasn't admitted what he's done. For the Youthful Offender Act to work the way that it's supposed to act, there has to be a taking of responsibility. And he hasn't taken any responsibility here. So we need some sort of admission of responsibility at a minimum.
Is there, under the law, has there ever been a situation, I'll tell you from my point of view, I haven't seen anything like this in general, that's why it's such a shocking case, but have you ever seen anything where a victim's rights were violated and the relief that was ultimately ordered by a court was for the defendant, let's say, to be resentenced, for there to be an issue where they do get a more serious sentence? Have you ever seen anything like that?
I've not seen that in Oklahoma. I've seen it in other states in the cases that we cited in the motion. So I think there is some authority for that in other jurisdictions. I'm not aware of it here. The only other situation that I am personally aware of from personal involvement is where a judge refused to accept a plea because my client and the other individual who were involved, who were also sexual assault victims, did not approve of the plea. And so the judge rejected the plea, but not here in Oklahoma where they've resentenced them.
Is most of the onus, in your perspective, on the DA's office or the judge here, both? Because the judge here has taken a lot of heat, okay? A lot of heat. What, in your perspective, who is more culpable with regards to what happened to Jesse Butler?
First of all, there were two judges that were involved. There was Judge Worthington and there was Judge Cooling, and Judge Cooling is still on the case. And then there's obviously the district attorney's office. I'm not going to really say who I think was more culpable. I will say that I believe that the system failed from beginning to end.
She's so much more political and nice than I am. But of course, she's also the lawyer fighting this battle. And I think it's the judge's fault. Both judges. But I also do think she's correct. I think the district attorney's office is also at fault. This should have never happened. Never happened. Offering him this sort of plea deal, it's disgusting. It really truly is. And it's showing the victims that they don't really matter. That's what it shows, in my opinion.
So whoever that falls out on, in my opinion, it failed from beginning to end.
So if you go to the paperwork that was filed, your motion states that after you filed an entry of appearance in April to assert your client's Marcy's law rights, a series of critical orders were filed without your signature or clear certificate of service to you. This apparently includes the May 22nd order delaying the preliminary hearing, the June 12th order striking the hearing. From a victim's rights attorney's perspective, what are the consequences of this? Why do you think something like this happened? And why is this so important that you and your client do be properly notified of what's going on?
Sure. So to be clear first, I wasn't the original victim's rights attorney that entered. The original attorney was Jessica Goodwin, I believe is her last name. And it's important that it happens because in the law, we're required to give notice to do certain procedural things every time a motion is filed. If the court takes action, they're required to do that as well so that we ensure that every party is aware of what's happening. And that doesn't matter whether it's a civil case or a criminal case. That's a basic procedural thing that we're taught from the time you start practicing law. And the failure to do that is key because you can't be prepared if you don't know what's happening, and you can't appear if you don't know that there's a court date. So that started from the very beginning of not giving her the proper notice of what was happening, where she had to go track down pleadings at the courthouse because they weren't being served on her. And because of the nature of the crime and the age of the perpetrator, these documents also were not available online.
And if, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion alleges that on August 25th, so the day of the plea hearing, the family was informed of the final terms, right? No contest, no incarceration, in a room just minutes before walking into court. And I'm quoting here, it says, it quotes the DA as saying, "We're supposed to include the families in discussions about these things. Sometimes that is a mistake." Talk to us about that.
Well, first of all, my client didn't find out all of the terms until they were actually in the courtroom. So they knew as right before as they were walking in that it was going to be no contest and no time. As far as given notice in the victim's room that morning right before walking into court, did give them any meaningful time to process what was happening. They did have notice the Friday before that the previous agreement had gone awry. And it sounds to me as if there really was no previous agreement. And the fact that the DA would say something along the lines of involving the family as a mistake is highly concerning.
I can't believe they actually said that. Oh, sometimes involving the families is a mistake. Yeah, because these aren't the victims or anything like that. I mean, what an awful thing to say to victims and their families. What a major fail by the district attorney's office on this one. Man, talk about a failure. It just seems like you don't know when the failure started and when it ended, really.
So, in response to the public outcry in this case, you have the Payne County District Attorney, Laura Thomas, issued a detailed public statement. The DA states that they filed in adult court after consultation with the victims and their families. Your paperwork argues that the consultation wasn't meaningful. And without referencing the specific case, can you explain what that means? I mean, there seems to be a disconnect between what the DA is saying and what your client is alleging.
So there was notice of some things, but not everything. There might not be notice until right before it's happening. That was quite often. Did the DA spend time? Yes, the DA spent time. Different DAs spent different amounts of time with my client as well as the other clients. Each were told different things. So we have not full notice, not meaningful notice of discussing what's happening. Does 10 minutes before you walk into the courtroom, does that constitute notice? It's a technical notice. But if you didn't know about the hearing and you lived an hour away and you have a right to be present, is that sufficient? There are lots of different arguments that can be made within what's going on here. The district attorney knew that these young women were adamantly opposed to him not having any time and not pleading guilty. And, you know, consent is not a defense to strangulation. So to say that juries won't find in this way or juries go different ways, I understand that. But there's no consent to strangulation, and certainly no consent to strangulation as a minor. So why we would settle for anything less than guilty on that, just as an attorney, blows my mind.
Yeah, that was a part that was confusing to me about what would be the difficulty at trial here, because the DA's statement explains that a plea had spared the victims a trial, and that, quote, youthful offender was the most likely final outcome. Can you explain that? Because again, I was thinking about, as I've been covering this case, what a trial would have looked like. Obviously, would have been very, very difficult for your client to go on the stand, explain what happened. Very difficult for a jury to hear about this, of course. But at the same time, if you combine all the evidence that was presented in this case, it felt like a strong case for the prosecution. When you hear the DA saying, well, we spared a trial here and the youthful offender status was the most likely final outcome, what's your response to that?
It's the district attorney's job to go in and to fight and to enforce the law on behalf of all individuals in the state of Oklahoma. I understand she might believe that youthful offender was the most likely outcome. That doesn't mean that she should not go in and fight for what she filed. If she filed it as an adult, that means to me that she believed she could get a conviction as an adult. So why back off of it? Or why not go through the entire motion process and have the judge make that ruling after the presentation of evidence? Instead, there were agreements entered, meaning that the district attorney agreed that it should be a youthful offender status.
Because I think it has to do with the power. His family's, got influence in the community. I think that's exactly what happened here. I think if he was anybody else, just, didn't have any kind of standing, his family in the community, I think he would have been having to be held responsible, and he would have had that trial, and he would have been charged as an adult, and he would have had to answer for it.
And I believe that that's problematic. Unless she wants to admit to overcharging people where she filed it as an adult, knowing it would get kicked down to a youthful offender, that raises all kinds of other concerns. If we're going in and we're filing charges too high, and then we're using them to negotiate back down later, does that mean if you can't afford to hire a high powered lawyer that you're going to get convicted of or having to plead to a bigger charge than you should have received?
It's a fair point. And I have to ask you, and again, if you don't want to answer, completely understand. I think there's this missing gap here where a lot of people just don't understand, why would he have been given this treatment, in the sense that it doesn't make sense. I'm not from Oklahoma. I think a lot of our viewers maybe are not from Oklahoma. Don't know about Jesse Butler. Don't know about the court system there. Do you have a theory as to why he received this sentence in the end, why he was given youthful offender status, why he was given essentially probation? I mean, I've covered cases all over the country. I've never seen anything like this. Is there anything you can share with us about how this was justified in any way?
I will say it's legally allowable.
Okay. That's a very good lawyer answer. I like that one. I'm gonna go with that. It's legally allowable. Okay, fair. It's okay, fair.
Again, she is very, very smart, and she's not gonna tell you what we all have learned, that we all have been learning, is, again, it's about a status, about, power in the community. I think his parents used that to get him this slap on the wrist. I really do. I mean, you guys let me know if you disagree. I mean, I don't know, Oklahoma either, but from what I've learned, it sounds exactly like what happened.
There was just another part I wanted to ask you about too, and correct me if
Sure.
I'm wrong. There is the victim's protective order remains sealed. And correct me if I'm wrong about that, but there's this protective, and I think that's a complicating factor, right? It makes it difficult to enforce. Can you talk to us more about that? What that means?
Sure. So, because again, it involves a juvenile, it's a sealed protective order. So, it's a document that can't be looked up on our public records, our oscn.net, that allows you to look up and see all of the different court proceedings. Normally, protective orders are something that are available online for anyone to see, because this one isn't. If these girls don't have their paperwork with them when they would encounter him at a public setting, because they all live in the same community, it becomes their word against his. And so, unless you have a police officer there who has immediate ability to access the system, no one's going to know. And that creates a situation, because we've already had a previous problem of the protective order not being properly enforced when they were all in school together.
By the way, before I let you go, just overall, the youthful offender status in Oklahoma, how does it work? I mean, we don't talk about it a lot here. How does the system work? What should we know about it?
So, the Youthful Offender Program is a program for older teens that are still minors under the law that commit more serious crimes, to look at it and see if they should get more serious punishments based upon the crime that was committed. Murder and rape being two of the crimes that allow you to file and as an adult. And there is a question in our mind as to whether or not, with the rape one and the attempted rape one, if there is even a process within the statutes to make that go back to a youthful offender when it's been filed as an adult.
It was reverse. I forgot the terminology that was used in the paperwork.
The reverse certification.
Yeah.
Some people will tell you that reverse certification doesn't technically exist anymore, but when you read the statute, 2-5 205, I believe it is. It's early, so forgive me if I got the site wrong. But when you look at subsection A and B, that relates to murder, and subsection D relates to rape. And when you look at it, it talks about in subsection A, for younger individuals accused of murder, the process of filing as an adult and then reviewing it to see if it should go back to youthful offender or juvenile. B does not allow that. And our position is that subsection D, as it relates to rape, is more like subsection B when filed as an adult. It's an adult, you file it as an adult, you move forward as an adult.
By the way, again, before I let you go, and I'll officially let you go because I know that you're busy, what has been the public's response been like? What has the community's response been like? Obviously, there seems to be a sense of outrage, but on the part of your client, their family, have they been receiving a mountain of support through all of this? What has it been like for them, for you, to see the public, essentially, or a large part of the public, turn on Jesse Butler and ask questions about what happened here and follow the ongoing aspects of this case?
The community has been very supportive, not just in Stillwater, but across the state and nationally. That feels very good because, as you know from doing this, rape victims, sexual assault survivors often don't get this kind of support. And it shows you the outrage within the community to punish, for the failure to punish meaningfully offenders who commit these kinds of crimes. Women, especially young teen women in Oklahoma, do not feel protected as a result of what happened here. And we know statistically, individuals who strangle are more likely to murder and more likely to reoffend. And so this puts an individual on the street without real punishment, in our opinion, who is likely to offend again and severely harm, if not kill somebody.
1000%. Again, I love this woman. She's a great attorney, I could already tell. And she's correct. The support for these victims, who we only know as, initials, besides the redacted in the documents. I know I support them, and I know a lot of you guys support them, and I do not support the Butler family at all, okay? And especially mom, because she's just hoarding over him, acting like he's just her little baby, and he could do no wrong. It's horrible. And like I said in the previous video, I could tell you he almost already killed the one girl. Okay, the one that they've been showing in these clips, the photo there where her face is blurred out. She is permanently damaged. Okay, she has permanent physical, issues because he strangled her. 30 more seconds and she would have been dead. So I consider that attempted murder. So the fact that he is getting off with this joke of a juvenile offender, it's beyond ridiculous. It truly is. And to me, it's like it should not have ever come to that. In his case, with the amount of times that he's assaulted women, he's done all these things to them, there should have never been any sort of leniency offered to him beyond prison time. Okay, the fact that they even offered this in the beginning it just blows my mind. It truly does. And I hope that they get this to be reversed, and I hope that they get a trial out of this, because I think a jury will fry his butt. I really do, because there's going to be enough evidence to show that he really doesn't give a crap. He doesn't care. And mom doesn't seem to care. I don't know about dad, but this family does not seem to care that their son is a monster and has sexually assaulted and abused and almost killed a girl. They really don't care. And again, if he does not get a good amount of prison time and even potentially get a sentence that he could maybe get rehabilitated and learn from, which I don't personally believe that he can be rehabilitated, but that's my opinion, that he's going to definitely go out there and do it again and again, and eventually I think he would kill somebody. I really do. I mean, it's disgusting. So let me know you guys' thoughts on this in the comments, because I cannot wait to see what happens in this. I don't know. I don't think we're going to find anything out by the end of the year here, but I'm really glad that this outrage, this outcry is doing something, because this nasty person on the screen, this high school senior, he doesn't deserve to be a youthful offender. As far as I'm concerned, he's an adult and he committed adult crimes and he needs to answer for it. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.